Fans of American Idol adore John Foster. They are making it apparent that some people do not, though. Recently, a dispute over the singer became heated. The top 6 will be whittled down in tonight's show. Many of John's supporters want him to go to the next round. Nonetheless, a sizable portion of the population will not cast ballots for him. To learn more about this, continue reading. American Idol is rapidly reducing the number of competitors. Every Sunday and Monday night, there are episodes. They do eliminations both nights, though. They can swiftly eliminate competitors and encourage them to perform more frequently as a result. Last night, they reduced it to the top 8. They will select only the top 6 tonight. On May 18th, the victor will be crowned. Fans are impatient. From the start, people have been voting whenever they can and supporting their favorite acts. There are a few individuals, nevertheless, that they do not wish to win the competition. Some people believe they lack the necessary skills to win. One person caught in the crossfire of this is John Foster. There are many fans of John Foster, but some people dislike him. Regarding John, one admirer left a remark. "What the devil is John still doing? He really sings like someone from a tavern in Karaoke. He is far superior than the remaining cast members." His supporters and loved ones were not pleased by this. They returned to protect him. Really crazy take, to be honest. Even if not everyone liked country music, he will place in the top 5 at the very least. This guy has it, the charisma, the voice, and the appearance. He's very excellent, and after this performance, he's one of the few with incredible potential for a successful career. I am aware that not everyone liked John's traditional rural style. However, in my opinion, his brilliance is indisputable. I cast my vote for him each week. One of my favorites is him. John is fantastic. I don't think he's any less than everyone else, and he's far superior than a karaoke singer, haha. I think the dude is charismatic and talented. How someone could not like John was a mystery to most. Thus, everything became nasty. A fan apparently wanted to voice the distaste for John Foster. All of his followers, however, stepped in to defend him, so this did not sit well. He has great vocal skills and has advanced far in the competition despite being a country singer. He does not, however, have what it takes to win American Idol, according to some. Simmering tension, rather than soaring singing, was the energy that made the air in the American Idol studio crackle. This was not your typical post-performance review. The season's divisive frontrunner, John Foster, was the main focus tonight, and the controversy around his creative decisions had erupted into a heated argument. Both the judges and the audience were left reeling as what had begun as a light-hearted conversation about musical direction had turned into a full-fledged, televised display of opposing beliefs. There was a contradiction in John Foster. Unquestionably strong, his voice was a raw, expressive instrument that could fill the entire enormous studio with just one note. Viewers were enthralled by his captivating theatrical presence and dark intensity. But his song selections were always difficult. John preferred obscure indie songs, avant-garde jazz adaptations, and creative compositions that were difficult to classify above the usual pop anthems or traditional rock classics. Even while the audience was unquestionably touched, his performances frequently left them perplexed since they focused more on creating an experience than striking flawless notes. There were disagreements among the judges, who were a group of seasoned business professionals. The elder statesman, Lionel Richie, was concerned about John's financial viability despite appreciating his artistic abilities. With a tired sigh, he would frequently say, "John, you have a gift, however, the goal of American Idol is to find a star. Is it possible to convert this intensity into a product that people would want to purchase?" Katy Perry, who has always advocated for individualism, was John's strongest supporter. She would say, "He's pushing boundaries," with passion in her voice. This is what music needs, someone who isn't afraid to be different. The country music icon Luke Bryan maintained a cautious optimism, praising John's skill while gently encouraging him to write more approachable songs. The John Foster phenomena has been exemplified by tonight's performance. By removing the catchy tune and substituting discordant chords and hushed words, he had stolen a popular pop smash and turned it into an eerie, nearly unidentifiable ballad. The audience responded with a mixture of dispersed applause and perplexed silence. Then the argument started. The ever-smooth host, Ryan Seacrest, tried to guide the topic, but it was too late. The internet community, music reviewers, and even previous competitors were now contributing in addition to the judges. The so-called John Foster debate, according to social media, has gained widespread attention. A well-known music blogger who was asked to appear on the broadcast as a guest commentator launched the initial volley. She opened with a scathing and critical tone, "Look, I appreciate artistic integrity. American Idol, however, is not a performance art piece. Listeners tune in to hear well-known and beloved songs, performed by a performer they might see themselves purchasing an album from. The primary audience is being alienated by John. He is destroying himself." Katy Perry sprang to his defense right away. With her eyes flaming, she shot out, "That's a narrow-minded view of what music can be. Are we only searching for duplicates of existing products? Or are we seeking someone who can push us and provide us new experiences? That's what John is doing." The argument swiftly became heated. Viewers' tweets, a jumbled mix of praise and criticism, flew across the screen. The trending hashtags were #TeamJohn versus #AdolStandards. Initially silent onlookers, the studio crowd started to whisper, their views evidently split. The commercially popular pop musician who had won American Idol was brought in via video call. With a sympathetic tone, she replied, "I understand the pressure to be authentic, however, there is equilibrium. The audience must be able to relate to what you are presenting. My career began with my debut hit, a well-known tune. John is restricting his reach if he continues to do this." Throughout the first back and forth, John, sitting stoically on the platform, his eyes focused on somewhere in the distance, said nothing. Was he displaying defiance? His expression was inscrutable. Resignation? Or just tired of being watched all the time? In an effort to mediate, Lionel Richie interrupted, "The commercial aspect of this should not be overlooked. Record companies are searching for performers who can sell albums and pack venues. Although there is no denying John's potential, his present course makes that difficult. We must be truthful about that." The Team John contingent in the audience began to jeer at this. "Art over commerce" was written on a placard held up by a young woman in the front row. When a well-known music critic who is notorious for his harsh critiques was introduced into the argument, it took an even more repulsive turn. He didn't hold back. Frankly, he said, his tone spewing contempt, "John Foster is conceited. Artistry is his cover as he is unable to give a simple, commercially viable performance. American Idol is not the place for him to perform as a vocalist, he is a performance artist." The audience's gasp could be heard. Katy Perry was clearly furious. "How dare you?" she cried, her voice shaking fiercely. "He is giving his all during these performances. It is an insult to true artistry to call him pretentious." The critic was undeterred. Ms. Perry, "Art is subjective. Marketability isn't. Additionally, John Foster is not marketable in the conventional sense, despite having a distinct ability. He will not become the next American Idol star, but he may find a niche fanbase." The phrase superstar hung in the air, a clear reminder of the show's very purpose. Was John Foster an intriguing but ultimately unmarketable aberration, or was he a budding superstar? Fueled by passion, impatience, and firmly held convictions about the nature of music and celebrity, the discussion continued. The people who supported John's unorthodox manner were accused of being out of touch, while the detractors were accused of being elitist. At last, Ryan Seacrest faced John. He said, "John," in a quieter, almost hesitant voice, "tonight, you've heard a lot. How would you respond?" Everyone was watching John. His shoulders gently rose and fell as he inhaled deeply. Even though he spoke in a low, nearly whispery voice, there was no denying the weight of his words. His eyes eventually met the camera as he said, "I understand the concerns. I am aware that consumers do not anticipate this from American Idol. Well, I can't pretend to be someone I'm not. I can't perform in a way that doesn't seem natural to me or sing songs that I don't feel. For me, music is about expressing oneself and finding a deeper connection. Maybe I'm not destined to be a superstar, if that doesn't fit the superstar stereotype. The audience fell silent for a minute as he spoke honestly and with calm confidence. His honesty appeared to halt even the most outspoken detractors. However, the break was short. Another guest commentator, a well-known music business executive, added his voice. Her tone was strong yet professional as she remarked, "John, that's admirable. However, the music business is a business. While authenticity is crucial, it must be presented in a way that appeals to a broad audience. You need to polish the ability and raw stuff you already possess. The decisions you make must enable you to have a career, not simply a moment." After John's passionate declaration, the executive's statements felt like a harsh reality check, despite their practicality. It served as a sobering reminder of the commercial demands that underlie the show's opulence. The argument went on and on. The particular situation of John Foster became entangled with discussions about the function of the artist in a commercial environment, what constitutes success in the music industry, and the very goal of American Idol. Was the goal of the show to identify a fake pop star or to unearth genuine talent that was a little out of the ordinary? Caught in the crossfire, the judges had to reiterate their opinions, their voices becoming tired. Luke Bryan underlined the need of establishing a connection with the audience, Lionel Richie underscored the necessity of maintaining equilibrium, and Katy Perry steadfastly defended John's artistic autonomy. In contrast, the internet community was a whirlpool of viewpoints. Fan fiction was written, memes were made, and contentious debates broke out in the comment sections. A microcosm of the broader conversations taking place in the music industry around authenticity, marketability, and the always changing notion of what it means to be a successful musician, the John Foster debate had become into a global phenomenon. The early feelings of rage and irritation gradually gave way to a feeling of fatigue as the night went on. At times, the conversation had been fervent, enlightening, and unquestionably unpleasant. It had revealed the profound differences between music fans and the music industry. Ever the professional, Ryan Seacrest somehow managed to end the heated debate. He appreciated the ferocity of the discussion, thanked the guest commentators, and urged the audience to support their preferred candidate. However, the John Foster debate continued to have an influence. The focus shifted from a single candidate to the future of music, the future of American Idol, and the intricate connection between art and business. The silent storm at the heart of it all, John Foster, was still unknown. Would he sacrifice his creative vision in order to achieve financial success? Or would he keep blazing his own trail, no matter what the cost? The tension in the studio was evident the next week. Everyone was wondering if the intense discussion had influenced the voters as the results were about to be announced. Had enough people been turned off by John's outlandish displays to send him home? Or had he gained the support of a portion of the crowd by appealing to their creative integrity? The studio held their breath until Ryan Seacrest eventually revealed the findings. John Foster was secure. There was a combination of applause and moans after the collective gasp. It appeared that the argument was far from done. A season-long tale of artistic struggle and public criticism was John Foster's American Idol journey. Every performance was scrutinized, every song selection examined, and the argument over his creative path raged on. He continued to be a divisive character, admired by some for his genuineness and derided by others for not being popular. John Foster ultimately lost the American Idol. He advanced to the last several rounds, which is evidence of both his indisputable brilliance and his ardent fan following. However, a more conventional, financially successful musician took home the title. But there was no denying John Foster's influence on the program and maybe the music industry as a whole. He compelled discussions on the nature of art, what constitutes success, and how reality TV influences the music business. He demonstrated that there existed a market for something unconventional, difficult, and non-traditional. Despite its unpleasant moments, the American Idol, John Foster debate was essential. It brought to light the intricacies of the music industry, the conflict between creative expression and business success, and the capacity of an artist to defy expectations. Even though John Foster didn't win the title of American Idol, he did win something arguably more valuable, the esteem of people who appreciated sincerity and the bravery to stand out from the crowd despite harsh criticism. His narrative served as a reminder that often the most influential artists are those who have the guts to break the norm, even if it means navigating an excruciatingly nasty argument.